Amazon Prime's Wheel of Time social media jumped back into the spotlight recently and revealed the first look at the show's iconic Heron-Marked sword. But because we're all a part of the WoT community, and because we have endless time to analyze every tiny detail, there is controversy. Woo! Let's take a look. Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of the Wheel of Time Community Show produced by Dragonmount.com. I'm your host, Kitty. Before we dig into the juicy stuff, please take a moment and like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Even if you're watching this on Instagram or Facebook, we'd appreciate it if you tap those like buttons and showed us a little love. Give us some comments too, but be nice, right? We're all friends and fans. Especially this one. She loves the Wheel of Time. Okay, so let's talk about swords, specifically the first look at the Heron-Marked sword that the WoTonPrime team shared with us recently on social media. They revealed a short, under 30-second video featuring a page-to-screen progression of this iconic weapon. Take a look. Dang, I can easily say that this is the first time I have been this hyped over a sword. You know, maybe it's just the music. That soundtrack, which is not the actual soundtrack for the TV show, is fairly well known and was actually used for the very first Lord of the Rings trailer announcement back in 1999. Check it.
One ring to rule them all.
More like one sword to rule them all. It's not 1999 anymore, folks. There's a new fantasy epic in town. Na 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 na. You know what? Amazon was smart to play that music. Really gets you into the whole epic mindset, right? So, aside from that awesome music, let's talk about the sword. Warning, we'll have spoilers for books 1 through 2. This is almost certainly Tam Althor's Heron-Marked sword. If you don't quite remember, the presence of a heron mark designates that the owner is a blade master. In the backstory of the Wheel of Time, Tam earned the sword during his days as a soldier. Book 1, The Eye of the World, begins roughly 20 years after Tam acquired the sword. He's kept it hidden away and only brings it out on winter night, when he and Rand become worried about the ominous occurrences near their home. Rand carries it from that point forward during all of books 1 and 2. Interestingly, it's not Rand's primary weapon during the first 2 books. Fans of the series are often familiar with Rand as a blade master, but for the first 2 books, he primarily uses his bow. It really isn't until the end of book 2 in his battle with Turok that Rand's sword skills come into the forefront. That same sword is ultimately destroyed, melted, when Rand fights Ba'alzamon in the climatic battle of book 2. So, great stuff, right? Cool video, neat looking prop, but there's been a bit of controversy over it. There are 2 aspects of the sword that don't quite match what was in the books. First are the herons. In the books, the heron marks appear on the sword in at least 2 places, the blade itself and the hilt. In the Amazon video, the heron only appears on the blade itself. This is notable because in the books, Rand twice receives brands on his palm from gripping the sword when it becomes superheated. One possible explanation is that the heron mark is actually on the other side of the hilt and we just can't see it in the video. It would be on that side because it burns Rand's right palm. But the absence of the herons from the sword in the video also implies something else. It is possible that, just maybe, they won't include the palm brands in the TV show. Yes, in the books, the brands are tied to a prophecy that marks Rand as the Dragon Reborn. But there are a couple of problems with this that a filmmaker might have. First, the palm brands are very similar to the dragon tattoos that Rand later receives. Both are markings of a creature that go onto his arms and designate him as a great chosen hero. In filmmaking story terms, that's a double beat. It's not unreasonable that the filmmakers might choose to not include it. The other challenge filmmakers might have, although it might seem easily surmounted, is that maintaining makeup on an actor's sweaty hands for the next 5, 7, 9, or whatever seasons could be more logistically difficult than you might think. Yes, of course, with the professional crew and budget that the show has, you'd think it would be easy. But the herons in this story quickly take a back seat to the symbology of the dragon tattoos, and you have to wonder if it's worth it from a story perspective. This is an adaptation, and like we've discussed before on this show, everything is fair game to potentially be changed. The second difference about the sword is the crossbar. In the books, the crossbar of the sword is generally described like this. The crossbar, as shown here, consists of 2 quillins sticking out. But in the video, the crossbar is rounded and stylized like a Japanese katana. For some fans, this minor change is upsetting. Some people have even indicated that it's another sign that the show isn't paying attention to details or is casually disregarding the fine detail Robert Jordan put into the books. Personally, I think it still looks like an awesome sword, and I really don't think my experience of the TV show is going to be ruined by such a minor deviation. The absence of the heron on the hilt might be more significant, as I mentioned a minute ago, but we'll just have to wait and find out. Waffo. Shortly after Amazon released the video showcasing the Heron-Marked Sword, the show's executive producer and showrunner, Rafe Judkins, hopped onto Twitter for a quick Q&A. He answered 10 questions about the props and production design. Some of the highlights were when he talked about the team's approach to designing props, such as the sword we're discussing. So, Rafe tweeted, "What's really important to me is that when we're diverging from the books, that we know what we're doing. So, every piece of production design from shoes to swords to the White Tower itself begins with pages of quotes from the books about that place/thing." He was asked by Alan Madragoran, "Will there be different styles of swords in Heron-Marked swords, or all of them will be katana style?" And Rafe answered, "Many, many different styles." He also said, "I want things to be real as possible, so in any place that we could possibly can, we've built things instead of trusting to effects. Our show could be all green screen, all CGI, but I think you'll be surprised by how much of it was actually built and touched and held by our actors." So, what do you think about the Heron-Marked Sword? We want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments. As always, for more information about the Wheel of Time TV show, visit Dragonmount.com. Thanks for joining us today. See you next time.
Thanks for sticking around to the end. As always, subscribe, click the thumbs up, leave a comment. You know we like the comments, especially the positive ones. If you got a friend that likes the Wheel of Time, tell them about our show. Tell them about Dragonmount.com. I want to give a special thanks to our sponsor, Tor Books, as well as all of our Patreon supporters. If you want to learn more about how our show gets made, maybe get some additional insights into the Wheel of Time, become a Patreon supporter. We have grand plans for the show, and all of your contributions will go a long way to making them happen. And make sure to follow Dragonmount on all the social media. Thanks. Peace.